You wouldn't believe the chaos that unfolded around Gervonta Tank Davis and his scheduled fight with Jake Paul. What was supposed to be one of the biggest boxing events of the year ended in complete uncertainty, leaving fans, analysts, and even fellow fighters stunned. Between lawsuits, canceled fights, and rumors, the story of Tank Davis over the past few weeks feels almost impossible to keep up with. And yet, this isn't just about one fight. It's a glimpse into how personal struggles, public scrutiny, and legal complications can collide for high-profile athletes in ways that impact their careers forever. To understand why this fight never happened, you need to look at Tank's journey. People close to him, like Calvin Ford, have spoken openly about the transformation they witnessed over the years. Ford has broken down in interviews, reflecting on seeing Tank go from a kid growing up in the streets to a grown man standing in championship rings. The emotion is real. He talks about watching Tank mature, learning, failing, and sometimes falling hard. There's admiration, but there's also heartbreak, because even the most talented fighters are not immune to the consequences of their personal actions. Tank's career has been remarkable, no doubt, but it's been shadowed by controversy almost as much as it's been celebrated for victories. Earlier this year, Davis faced allegations from the mother of his children, claiming mistreatment. That case was eventually dropped, but just 2 months later, another lawsuit emerged from a different woman, Courtney Rosal, who accused him of aggravated battery, false imprisonment, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Timing couldn't have been worse. The fight against Jake Paul was just weeks away, and that's when the dominoes began to fall. These allegations, regardless of their legal outcome, instantly affected his public image and the viability of the fight itself. Boxing fans know that personal controversies can be as impactful as losses in the ring. For Davis, these repeated legal entanglements created a cloud over his career. Analysts have pointed out that public perception is just as important as professional record. Roy Jones Jr., for instance, noted how the timing of this latest lawsuit coinciding with the Paul fight added enormous pressure. A fighter can be at the peak of physical condition, mentally prepared, and financially ready for the biggest payday of their life. But if personal issues distract them, the whole plan can unravel. And that's exactly what happened here. The cancellation of the fight wasn't just a logistical problem. It became a public spectacle that magnified Davis's personal struggles. Jake Paul's perspective added another layer of controversy. He claimed that Davis was sober and fully aware during the incident in question, attempting to paint a picture of accountability. But skepticism quickly followed. Observers asked, how could Paul possibly know Davis's state at a specific moment, hours earlier, without direct evidence? There were no breathalyzer tests, no cameras in the car, and no official toxicology reports. The story began to feel less like verified information and more like a narrative shaping public perception, creating tension between two sides of the same story. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, insiders painted a complex picture of the pressures fighters face. Coach Kenny and other professionals highlighted the intense scrutiny, expectations, and obstacles that come with elite competition. Every decision, every public appearance, and every personal interaction is observed and dissected. When rumors circulated that Davis was showing up late to promotional events or behaving like a diva, the discussion wasn't just about his talent. It was about how reputation can make or break career opportunities. Even temporary setbacks, like public controversies or canceled fights, do not erase years of discipline, skill development, and effort. But they certainly complicate the trajectory. The dynamics of the boxing industry also play a role. Promoters, analysts, and insiders all agree that the sport is as much about managing narratives as it is about physical performance. Fighters' reputations are fragile, and promotions are carefully calculated. Some fights are stacked in ways that favor marketable outcomes, while others are deliberately avoided if they're too risky. For someone like Jake Paul, who has built his brand carefully, ensuring an advantage isn't just strategic, it's survival in a business built on spectacle. And Tank Davis, with a history of both talent and controversy, became a variable that could disrupt the narrative Paul wanted to present. With Davis out, speculation immediately turned to potential replacements. Names like KSI and others started circulating, showing how quickly plans can change in combat sports when personal issues intervene. Every canceled match isn't just a missed opportunity for one fighter. It ripples through the entire promotion schedule, affects public interest, and even shifts financial stakes. For Davis, missing this fight meant missing what could have been one of the biggest paydays of his career, a moment that may not come again in the same way. The story gets more complicated when you consider the broader pattern of controversy surrounding Davis. Observers noted that the civil suit was filed just 2 months after a prior domestic dispute case was dropped. To outsiders, it appears as a repeated pattern, fueling the perception of instability. Fans and analysts alike debate whether repeated allegations indicate a deeper problem or simply reflect the intense scrutiny high-profile athletes face. Either way, the timing of the lawsuit, right before a major event, intensified its impact, making it impossible to ignore. Commentators like Pauly Malignaggi criticized Jake Paul for acting as though these controversies were newly revealed. Davis's past actions were public knowledge within the boxing community, meaning anyone entering negotiations should have anticipated potential complications. Yet, the cancellation made it seem as if the fight's collapse came out of nowhere. In reality, it was a mix of pre-existing history and unfortunate timing, further complicating fans' understanding of what happened behind the scenes. Public perception plays a huge role in all of this. From the outside, Davis's legal challenges appear dramatic, messy, and unpredictable. But insiders remind us that elite athletes constantly navigate pressure, expectations, and public judgment. Missteps, whether in training, promotion, or personal life, are magnified. Rumors of diva behavior or lack of focus at promo shoots, even if exaggerated, can influence future opportunities. In boxing, being a pleasure to work with isn't just a nice thing, it can determine whether doors stay open or close forever. Meanwhile, Jake Paul has had to adjust his plans. With Davis off, his focus shifted to other potential opponents, some of whom could bring their own drama and unpredictability. The ever-changing nature of boxing events highlights how one individual's personal challenges can affect not just themselves, but an entire industry. Fans watching at home, promoters managing logistics, and analysts speculating about outcomes all felt the ripple effect of this single cancellation. Beyond the public spectacle, there's an important takeaway about balancing personal life and professional responsibilities. High-level athletes like Davis are constantly walking a tightrope. Talent, skill, and discipline can take you far, but personal choices, timing, and public perception are equally crucial. A single misstep, whether verified or merely alleged, can disrupt plans years in the making. And when that disruption happens at the peak moment, weeks before a high-profile fight, the consequences can be enormous. It's also worth noting the human side of the story. Behind the headlines, there are people who have invested in Davis, from coaches to family members to fans who followed his journey from the streets to championship rings. Seeing a fight canceled due to personal and legal complications isn't just a story for analysts, it's a real blow to those who have supported him. Calvin Ford's emotional reflections, for example, show that success in the ring doesn't always protect you from heartbreak outside of it. Looking ahead, the boxing world will continue to adapt. Whether Davis can recover his reputation, reschedule fights, or re-establish himself in the public eye remains uncertain. The story serves as a cautionary tale about the fragility of opportunity, the weight of personal decisions, and the relentless attention elite athletes face. In a sport where timing, perception, and preparation are everything, even the most talented fighter can find themselves sidelined by forces outside the ring. In the end, what happened with Tank Davis and Jake Paul isn't just a tale of a canceled fight. It's a complex intersection of talent, controversy, timing, and human behavior. It's a reminder that in professional sports, every action counts, every reputation matters, and every choice can have lasting consequences. The question now isn't just who will fight next, but whether Davis can navigate these challenges, regain momentum, and prove that his journey is far from over. So, as fans and observers, we are left wondering, what happens next for Tank Davis? Can he overcome these setbacks, or will this be the defining moment of his career in the wrong way? And beyond that, how will this affect the broader landscape of combat sports, where reputation, timing, and public perception are as crucial as punches thrown in the ring? Only time will tell, but one thing is clear, this story is far from finished.